You would have heard about germ theory, attributed to French microbiologist and chemist Louis Pasteur. The theory is the cornerstone of modern medicine, and he also developed the process named after him, pasteurization. But what you wouldn't have heard is, just like the theory, Louis Pasteur was a fraud. He died in 1895, and while knowledge of his fraud back then was, fairly widespread, didn't really get into the media, and it wasn't until 1923 when Ethel Douglas Hume wrote her book, Béchamp or Pasteur. Béchamp was another French scientist, microbiologist, contemporary of Pasteur's, and he was the one who did all the real work, and Pasteur just stole most of his stuff. In fact, the book's title was later changed to Pasteur Exposed, and then 2 decades later, R.B. Pearson published another work, Pasteur, Plagiarist, Imposter. And the name of that was also changed later to The Dream, The Lie of Louis Pasteur. It wasn't until later in the 20th century that Pasteur's lab notes were released to the public. His family tried to hide them for many years. One of the first people to thoroughly review them was Gerald Geeson. He wrote an article in the New York Times in 1995. He declared that Pasteur was a fraudster. His germ theory was a lie, as was his vaccine research, and all of his ideas were largely stolen from his contemporaries and plagiarized. Contemporaries were Antoine Béchamp, the one I mentioned before in the 1923 book, and Claude Bernard. Béchamp discovered that germs, bacteria and viruses were pleomorphic, means that they could change from one organism to another type of organism. Bernard expanded on this, finding out that the environment was the cause of these changes. Pasteur admitted his fraud on his deathbed and claimed that the germ is nothing, the terrain is everything. The germ theory itself was something that Pasteur actually plagiarized too. This was around for centuries before he was born as a theory because, back then they didn't have microscopes, and sometime after the invention of the microscope, it was actually in 1762, there was an Italian physicist, M.A. Plensis. He published his germ theory of infectious diseases, claiming that there was a special organism which could cause infections. It could also reproduce outside the body and transport itself through the air. And this was the work that Pasteur actually mainly plagiarized from. There are other ideas, mainly from Béchamp. He made a lot of discovery, famous ones at the time, like molds and ferments were living organisms. Ferments are responsible for diseases in grapes. There was a big problem in the vineyards back then. Parasites were the cause of silkworm disease, another problem of the times. Pasteur also produced serums for rabies and anthrax, which were colossal failures. For example, people were dying from his vaccines instead of those diseases. And the case of rabies, which you hear how horrible it is, Pasteur's vaccine was far, far worse. It was a nightmare. The life of Louis Pasteur it's really interesting. There's a lot of information. Unfortunately, you just can't squeeze it all into a small video. You could easily do a 2-hour documentary on his lies and fraud. So if you want to learn more, just check out those books and articles that I mentioned previously. That's a good start. The real question is, why is this imposter glorified by society in modern medicine? Truth is that his theories, even though they have been disproven, are highly profitable for the pharmaceutical industry. With the public believing and being duped into the germ theory of disease, it opens the door for them to sell useless pharmaceutical medications. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and the works of Louis Pasteur are really crucial for their ongoing success. Now, if the sheep keep believing, the sheep will keep demanding their products, and they're making a lot of money out of it. So they will fight tooth and nail to make sure that his theories are still popularized, even though they're all frauds, they're all fake, been proven wrong. And I trust you enjoyed this expose on Louis Pasteur. For more wake up from being a sheep information on health related topics, visit my website at healthglade.com. Hi, this is Adam from Healthglade. If you enjoyed this video and want more health related content that you won't hear anywhere else, please follow our social media channels. But our content is highly controversial and Big Brother often takes down our pages. So also join our mailing list at healthglade.com, and when it happens we'll email you links to the new ones. Our videos are not copyrighted, so you can help by downloading them and re-uploading to your channels. Thanks for watching, and if you know anyone who will benefit from this content, please drop a like and share it with them.